So we've all heard that we should work smarter, not harder. And you know what? I think the same applies to love. So I've been rolling out the ways that we can love smarter, not harder, in all realms, not just with romance and with dating and relationships, although that's really important, but also with our friendships and with our family relationships. And my dissertation was on individuation from family of origin and identity development in college students. But individuation is basically, how do we figure out who we are in relationship with our family and maintain and cultivate our own authentic identity, even when we're in the midst of those family dynamics, which can be very powerful and very forceful in telling us who we're supposed to be. So that's just one realm. But like I said, I also want to talk about friendships. And I've been rolling out some posts recently about all this. And this is stuff that you guys are really resonating with, because it's stuff that we deal with, as we go through life, and our friends change and we change, and they go down one path and we go down another path. And it can be really hard to maintain that closeness and to not feel let down, frankly, from time to time when our friends are experiencing milestones in their lives that we're not. And you guys know I didn't get married till 42, so I was always the bridesmaid and never the bride. And then my friends were having babies and I wanted to have babies, and it was hard at times to, that's my cat. It was hard at times to navigate all that and figure out ways to still remain close even when our lives were so different. And then of course with love, we gotta love smarter, not harder. And this really harkens back to not only my whole psych nerd stuff and all the cognitive psych that I love as far as therapy goes, how we take charge of our thoughts, take charge of our lives. That's my mantra and the theme of my podcast. It helps us to be smart, to use our smarts for us, to help us really make sure that when we are experiencing a situation in love, whether it's dating or now we're in a committed relationship, or it's complicated, or even a marriage, how do we remain smart? Well, of course, part of it is, like I said, taking charge of our thoughts and making sure that we're listening to our head and not just throwing our head out because the heart wants what the heart wants, but we're staying true to ourselves, listening to our head, which is then informing our gut. We've talked about that in a post I did, a collab with the Fairy Godfather, about what's the difference? Should I follow my heart or should I listen to my head? And really the research behind that, which really suggests that we need to trust our guts. So there's so much content there that I want to delve into as well. But then also, even like I said, in marriage, how do we stay smart and love smarter, not harder? Because there's so much like research on marriage. Let's look at the successful marriages. What are they doing right? What are these folks doing who've been married for 50 years? And the research shows they're still in love. And anthropologist Helen Fisher has looked at this, and she does brain scans and finds that some people somehow are able to stay in love. Their neural images are looking the same as people who are just newly in love. And these folks have been married for years and years and years and have had they've had the kids, they've had the stressors, they've had the experiences that oftentimes can take other marriages down. So what do we do to love smarter, not harder? Well, like I said, we look at the research. Let's investigate the research and learn from the studies, learn from the experts, and also take charge of our thoughts, take charge of our mind, of our life rather. And really when I think about it, what I want to share with you is, again, not just the research and not just all the strategies from cognitive psych and from cognitive therapy, although those are powerful, but also from my experience, because the times when I so desperately wanted a relationship to work out, and I would say things to myself, but I just love him, and all I want to do is just love him and be with him, and I loved him so hard and so much. And oftentimes, those were the times when I was letting those emotions run the show, and I was losing my smarts and not being effective. And then betraying myself, by the way, because once I was losing my smarts, that's part of me. That's part of who we are. As women who are smart and powerful, when we let go of that, then we lose part of ourselves and we're not being authentic in these relationships. So I'm just challenging the notion that sometimes loving so hard isn't the right path. It's not the right choice. And to remain smart. And also, both are possible as well. Because you guys know the end of my story, not the end of my story, that sounds horrible, but the end of my journey in the dating realm, which I started dating at 15 and I didn't get married till 42. So that's 27 years of experiencing so many of the vicissitudes that the dating world has to offer. But my story, my happily ever after, happened with someone who I love so hard, but also can love in a smart way. And I want that for you too. So join me on this venture. We're going to look at so much research and so many strategies from cognitive therapy and from cognitive psych. And of course, we'll share personal experience as well. But join me and let's all learn to love smarter, not harder.